Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll kick off my new series where I preview each division before the 2026 NFL season starts. I thought it's a good time to start getting into this. Look, we have training camp, preseason is about to start. We're still about a month away from the season, but it feels like this is the right time. And why not start with the AFC North? Since this division isn't clear and cut, I thought it'd be an interesting one to go with, so let's get into it now. In fourth place, this shouldn't come as a shock, I have the Cleveland Browns. In 2025, the Browns finished 5-12 in last place. The Stefanski era had run its course as he was fired. Heading into 2026, the Browns hired former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. What's defined this team so far, before even playing a snap, was trading Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams in the offseason. Now, I'm not going to focus on draft compensation because this is a 2026 preview, but the key part of this is that they received Jared Verse, a fantastic young player that can be great for the Browns. Is he Myles Garrett? No one's Myles Garrett, but he can still be a difference maker that fits this team's timeline. He can both rush the passer and he can defend the run. He really is one of the best young defenders in the league, and I think he's going to be key in really bringing this Browns team to where they want to be in the next couple of years. The Browns are 100% building something. They made a couple great picks in the first and second round that I will touch on in just a second, but there's still too many holes that you really have to, account for when you look at this team. You don't even know who's going to be the quarterback. You have a first-year head coach. Again, the defense just gutted their best player. Yes, again, you still got Jared Verse back, but still Myles Garrett is a large gap to fill. And there's just a lot of questions with this team, and they need to show us that they can be consistent for us to take them seriously. Now, the three biggest things that I'm going to be looking at with the Browns coming into 2026. First is by far the quarterback position. The main purpose of this entire season for Cleveland is seeing if Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. Now, reports are saying it's neck and neck right now between Watson. I just got a report earlier before making this video that Watson will start the first preseason game, but this has to be the main focus of the season. Shedeur showed a few flashes at the end of the season, but the big question is, can he adapt to this new offense and can he take that job? I see this going realistically as Watson maybe starts a little bit in the beginning of the year just because there's so much financial investment in him. And again, they did trade all of those assets for him. But there's no way that Shedeur isn't the starter at some point of this season. And I really honestly think that, again, I'm not there in camp every day, but I really do think that they should just have Shedeur going to start the season. I hate when teams waste time and they don't play the better quarterback because they have to play this political game. I really think Shedeur should be starting. He's the younger quarterback, but again, with all of the stuff that they've invested in Watson, they're going to probably go with him early, and then at some point, I think they're going to go with Shedeur. I think Shedeur is going to be the quarterback of this team. Assuming he is, it's really, again, how does he develop? Can he get a decent chemistry with these young receivers, and can he really potentially show us that he can be the future quarterback of the Cleveland Browns? Next will be Quinyon Judkins. Most importantly, his health. He had a great season to start the year, but again, got hurt. He's a very, very talented running back, but he's got to stay on the field. He makes this Cleveland offense so much better, and he's really one of their better playmakers on this team. And again, if he's out, then I'm not going to be too big of a fan of this Cleveland running game. Again, he's young, so I'm not too worried about him having the injury that's going to happen, but he has to stay healthy because, again, once he got hurt last year, you could see it with Cleveland. Not saying that they were, an elite team by any means last year, but once he was out, it was like, okay, Shedeur's just kind of just throwing it up, and we're just kind of handing the ball off to anyone in this backfield. He makes the offense so much more dynamic, and I don't have to really speak on this much more because Browns fans know how much of a key he is and how much of a difference maker he made to the Browns offense last year when he was on the field. And last is the skill positions for Cleveland. These guys have to develop this year. With Njoku departing, even more trust will now be put onto Fannin, so that's someone to watch who's a young, up-and-coming tight end, and I like a lot. But again, he has to show us that he can do this consistently. And then you look at the draft, like I mentioned, in the first round, they get Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M, and then you get Denzel Boston in the second round out of TCU. That's a lot of draft capital, especially early in the draft, on two skill positions. They're bolstering that room. Yes, you still have Jerry Jeudy, but getting KC, who I'm a big fan of, he just needs to clean up the drops, and Boston, who can be your X receiver that you can just yuck it up to. I think the Browns have a lot of fundamental pieces here, but again, it's really the main talking point with this entire team is, can they put it together on the field? Again, if Shedeur clicks, he already makes the offense better. Then Judkins is that additional piece in the run game. And then, of course, he can, Shedeur can start building some chemistry with these receivers. And then all of a sudden, the foundation is there for the Browns. But again, that's a lot of what ifs. We have to see it on the field first. And that's what I'm looking at. I have the Browns going 5-12. Maybe they win another game. Maybe they lose another game. I don't see much of a ceiling for this team just because, again, we don't know what we're getting out of the quarterback position. And, again, it's Monken's first year as a head coach. There's just a lot of questions. But I do really like the foundation of what this team has. There are also some key players on the defense as well. Again, with first Denzel Ward, who just resigned, but still. There's a lot of questions for this Browns team. Again, love the foundation, but they just are not there yet. In third place, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 2025 Steelers had the most Steeler season ever, winning a weak division and getting dominated in the wild card. That's been the ceiling for the Steelers for years now. They finally parted ways, though, with Mike Tomlin and hired Mike McCarthy. A shock for sure, but I see the vision at the same time. The organization definitely needed to be more offensive-minded, which I think is a plus. But again, is McCarthy the guy that you want at the helm? The key addition in the offseason was trading for Michael Pittman. As stated, the Steelers are looking to become more offensive focused. So I think this is a good move overall for what they needed, especially that receiving room really needed a ton of work, and they dropped off a cliff after Metcalf got suspended at the end of the year last year. They also addressed the offensive line by getting Max Inkcher from Arizona State. I apologize about that. Offensive tackle in the first round. And then they also got Gennings Dunker in the third round from Iowa, a guard. They needed that bad. So a few players there for the Steelers that might actually bolster that position group. And then they also got Jamal Dean in the secondary, who I thought it was a very solid move. You also get Jaquan Brisker to play safety. I was a big fan of him out of Penn State. He's a Penn State fan, but he's kind of been more of a depth piece at this point of his career. Now on to the key parts of this season. And again, going back to the quarterback position, it's Aaron Rodgers and his health. This man is 42. The Steelers are relying on a 42-year-old man to get it done. And again, that's a lot to ask out of him and his health. And Rodgers has lost a step, but he's still can play in the NFL like we saw last year. But is he good enough at this point to keep it going? And will this be the year that, the father time really gets him and he really does hit that point where he is declining, where he can't even really play anymore? I don't think he's at that point yet, but still, it's a lot to ask out of a guy, number one, to just be that level quarterback at the age of 42, and number two, to stay healthy, especially if the offensive line doesn't take that next step. Segueing into the offensive line, again, they need to improve. As stated, they added 2 players in the first few rounds. This team still needs to show me that they can consistently block against better teams. Just watch the tape from the wild card game, and they will show you everything that they need to know when it comes to this offensive line and why it needed to be improved. And last is Mike McCarthy. What does Steeler football look like under this guy? This is going to be very, very different from Mike Tomlin's tenure. I mean, again, Tomlin's been running this organization for years. He was the face of this organization. But now they're going with a local guy, actually, to turn this thing around. I think they will improve on offense, which is, again, a plus. It's the modern-day NFL. But is he a good enough coach to take them to that next step? I'm not sure. And even if he is that good of a coach, I'm just not sure about this roster and that he and Rodgers can elevate them at this point of both of their careers. I have the Steelers going 8-9. Maybe they get another win in there, but I just see them missing the playoffs. I don't think their ceiling is as high as people expect, though I haven't seen a ton of buzz about the Steelers at the same time, but still, there's been a little bit of positivity just because, again, you move on from Tomlin, you get Pittman in the offseason, but I just don't see it with this team, especially on defense. There's just not enough playmakers, in my opinion, and again, relying on a 42-year-old quarterback is just a big ask. In second place, this one shocked me because I actually had them third originally, but once I planned this video out, I was like, wow, I have to go with second place. I had the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to be higher on this team, but they haven't been consistent for a few years now due to poor coaching and Joe Burrow's injury health. It was an interesting offseason, too. They lost Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens, but traded for Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. They also signed multiple defensive players like safety Brian Cook, edge rusher Boye Mafe, and Jonathan Allen for rotational depth at the defensive tackle position. And they kept it going in the draft early as well by getting Cassius Howell at edge from Texas A&M and cornerback Takario Davis from Washington. Sounds like a reoccurring theme with this video, but the most important thing for this Bengals team has to be Joe Burrow's health. This guy has to stay healthy. As a fantasy owner of Joe Burrow in my Dynasty League, trust me, Bengals fans, I know your pain. An early turf toe injury derailed their season last year before it even got started. Burrow has showed us that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He just needs to stay healthy. But at one point, do we need to start saying he's potentially injury prone if it occurs again this year? And now he's going on 4 years without a playoff win. It's time to see that success come back to this team. The second most important thing for me is the defense. Can they actually improve this year? This unit has consistently held this team back for years now. Even when Burrow was healthy, it felt like the Bengals were always in a shootout because they lacked a real star power on defense. Lawrence is their big move, but the added depth of free agency in the draft should improve this unit to at least middle of the pack. And last is Zach Taylor. He's coaching for his job. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired already, but he's still in Cincinnati. No more slow starts. This team cannot handle another one of those. I want to see this offense also have a little bit more variety and just be more dynamic. I feel like the Bengals always are a little bit stale, not in a bad way. It's never like, a McVay type of offense, a Shanahan type of offense. It feels like it's a little bit more of a simple offense when you look at Zach Taylor and what they've been running the last couple of years. But I see if the Bengals miss the postseason for whatever reason this year, 100% Zach Taylor is going to be canned. I don't know what else they'd be waiting on. If everything goes well this year, which is a big if, I have the Bengals going 10-7. I think there's a ton of talent on this team. Again, with the improved defense as well, I think they just squeak into the playoffs. And last, the first place winners are the Baltimore Ravens. After 18 years with John Harbaugh at the helm, they moved on and hired Jesse Minter, former defensive coordinator from the Los Angeles Chargers. Though I have questions on how he will handle this role, I have confidence that he will get this defense back on track. And with Lamar coming back into the season healthy, they are the best team in this division. Their biggest key loss was Tyler Linderbaum to the Raiders. He got a bag, and it's just going to be pretty hard to refuse that. Though he's gone, they added depth on their defense by signing Trey Hendrickson, though they wanted Max Crosby, but that never finalized. So Hendrickson is still a great substitute. They also addressed the offensive line by signing guard John Simpson, who should add help to that interior offensive line, which really struggled last year. And they continued adding to the offensive line in the draft with their first-round pick, Ione out of Penn State. They also got an edge, Zion Young from Missouri, to add to that defensive line. And then in the third and fourth round, they double-dipped on wide receiver by getting Jacoby Lane from USC and Elijah Surratt from Indiana. Now on to the biggest questions I have for the Ravens. Can Minter adapt to being this team's head coach? I think he can. Like I said, I thought he did a great job in Los Angeles, and I see that translating to this Ravens defense. The question is more, is he ready for what this job brings? If this team disappoints early this year and that continues into next year, I mean, he might get fired. It's just that type of market in Baltimore when it comes to the Ravens. They expect greatness, and rightfully so. It's one of the best franchises in the NFL. Second for me is, how will this offensive line play? Last year, Baltimore's guards ranked 32nd in NFL pass block win rate. Not good at all. But adding Simpson and Ione should greatly help this unit, and I think that's only going to help, number one, the offense as a whole, but specifically keeping Lamar Jackson from getting hit as much. And last is, can Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry stay healthy? Lamar had an early hamstring injury last year that really derailed his season. He just wasn't anywhere near as explosive as a runner from the pocket, and he also dealt with other minor injuries that continued to impair his play. When you look at Derrick Henry, he's 32. I have no questions about his game. It's really more a question about if this is the year that Father Time finally knocks. If both stay healthy and play like they have in the past, this team should continue humming and should really pick off of the 2024 season and before that, and we'll more see 2025 as more of a blip. I have the Ravens going 12-5. I think if everything clicks this year, they should be the best team in this division, and they should be winning the AFC North. That's how I see it going. Let me know your predictions down below, though. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Football is almost back, guys. I literally can't wait. I'm going to be trying to get as many of these out before the season starts, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, if you made this far, I greatly appreciate you. Peace, guys.